The Festival That Wasn't, Episode 8. I'd been looking forward to the festival for weeks. It was supposed to be one of those big nomad gatherings with workshops, live music, and food trucks. The kind of event where you could swap stories, learn a thing or two, and maybe even make a friend for the next leg of the journey. I'd driven all the way from Colorado to northern Nevada, following dusty highways and dirt roads, with Sadie snoozing in the passenger seat of Miss Daisy. The directions were vague, but I figured that was part of the charm. When I finally reached the site, my heart sank. A hand-painted sign at the entrance read, "Festival Canceled, Weather." I could see the muddy remnants of what should have been a bustling campground. A few abandoned tents, a toppled porta-potty, and deep ruts carved into the soggy earth. "Well, that's a bust," I muttered, glancing at Sadie. She wagged her tail like she didn't have a care in the world. I considered turning back, but the drive had been long, and I needed a place to camp. Besides, a handful of rigs were still scattered around the perimeter of the site. Maybe I wasn't the only one who hadn't gotten the memo. I found a dry patch of ground near a cluster of vans and set up camp. As I stepped out of Miss Daisy, a man emerged from the van next to mine. "Looks like we both missed the news," he said with a grin. He introduced himself as Paul, a retired teacher traveling in a decked-out Sprinter van. As we talked, a couple from a nearby RV joined in, followed by a woman camping in a tiny teardrop trailer. Before I knew it, we had a little group forming. "Festival or not, we're here now," Paul said. "What do you say we make the best of it?" That's exactly what we did. The next morning, we dragged out folding chairs, set up a fire pit, and started sharing what we had. Paul played guitar, strumming old folk songs while Sadie dozed by the fire. The couple in the RV whipped up pancakes on their griddle, offering them to anyone who wandered over. By the afternoon, more people had joined, bringing snacks, stories, and even a makeshift banner that read, "The Festival That Wasn't." We spent the day trading skills and ideas, just like we would have at the real event. I showed a young woman how to patch a tear in her van's awning, while Paul gave a crash course on using a portable solar generator. One man even led an impromptu yoga session in the shade of a juniper tree. That evening, we turned the gathering into a feast. People brought whatever they had, a mix of canned goods, fresh veggies, and road trip snacks, and we turned it into a surprisingly delicious spread. As the sun set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, I looked around at the faces lit by the campfire. Laughter echoed across the site, and for a moment I forgot that the original festival had ever been canceled. When the fire died down, Paul looked at the group and said, "You know, sometimes the best things happen when the plan falls apart." I couldn't have agreed more. The next morning, as we packed up and said our goodbyes, someone suggested we keep the tradition alive. "Every year," they said, "we'll come back for the festival that wasn't, rain or shine." I don't know if they'll follow through, but I like to think they will. The road has taught me to embrace the unexpected, to find joy in the unplanned and the imperfect. That weekend might not have been the festival I'd imagined, but it was something better. Proof that community doesn't need a schedule or a stage. It just needs people willing to show up.